All calves. All right, we got a little passion. You made it sound like this was like the most epic speech of all time, like Braveheart or Gladiator status, you know? But you kind of psyched me out there a little bit.
It was. That was a pretty good little quote there.
Well, you know, Bloodyface is his practice partner and friend and teammate, Bloodyface is himself. Noblord already has gone through in the winners match, but as you can see, facing off in round 5 and in the initial matches. I mean, Bloodyface also has to play against Bobby X and Noblord, Language Hacker, you name it. There's just so many talented players in this list. It's a bloody trail, if you will.
Ooh.
Now, part of the reason why we felt like this matchup is so insanely hard is because Odd Warrior can't put enough pressure. We recognize that not everyone saw the series in round 5 Swiss, so if you're just paying attention to the top 8 and seeing these decider matches of who goes to the championship, Odd Warrior just does not do a good enough job pressuring. Their win condition primarily is through exhausting their opponent of resources and eventually winning out in long fatigue scenarios. Now, Bloodyface, when he's given infinite time, will be able to assemble infinite damage, which is kind of what all of his decks do. He has the Horseman of the Apocalypse. Excuse me, I'm getting a little choked up, TJ. It's so emotional. It's not because of my allergies or that I'm feeling a little sick. Holy Wrath Paladin with the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. We have Quest Priest that has Topsy-Turvy with OTK. They have Quest Rogue, which feels like infinite resources at times.
Yep.
And then Hakar Druid, which we all know inevitably wins long fatigue scenarios.
Now, if Killinallday were to somehow defeat this priest in game 1 with Odd Warrior, then it's a completely different series. But it's just so tough because it's tough for Odd Warrior to mount pressure.
But he's doing a good job of it. I think this this Coppertail Imposter, is that what they call it? The mech, I guess, stealth from Boomsday Project. Potentially a blessing in disguise, even though it's not a very assuming card. It's that you keep it safe from removal, and Killinallday can keep stacking that advantage with Zilliax right now. He can make it a 10 attack minion, and you know there is that Psychic Scream, which is very key for Bloodyface, but there's still a handful of damage that's been dealt, you know, and it delays Bloodyface from getting his quest done. But Killinallday knew this was a very strong possibility, which is why he was thinking about, should I shuffle in, you know, or should I play a little bit slower and be more cautious?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised just to see Big Game Hunter here, because it's the most damage. And the next turn, Faceless Manipulator, the Big Game Hunter, to really get the ball rolling. That's the weird kind of plays you have to make in this matchup. Killin does just not have much
I don't disagree.
power generation.
I don't disagree, TJ. It's also one of those scenarios where, remember during the interview, Ike was telling us how he put King Mukla in his Odd Warrior. It's against lineups like this where it actually seems to give you a fighting chance, because you might be able to time it where they burn a really important card, or you're able to complicate their hand situation because they need to dump things.
Yep.
But, you know, just not having the right tech cards for those control lineups. And yet, despite all that, Killinallday has been able to persevere. So I'm still holding out for a little bit of hope, even though it looks very grim. And this is a very good move here from Bloodyface, just to duplicate his Vivid Nightmare and Topsy-Turvy while being able to complete his quest.
Yep. So now Bloodyface is basically just a few mana and Stone Tuskboar away from completion, and also Death Rattles, but that seems a little bit further away. Dead Ringer will help that.
Well, Killin has... He has the cube. He has a cube Reckless Flurry play, which, I mean, does increase the power on board. Puts his opponent down to 9. That's just outside of any like meaningful range of damage if he has 2 4-attack minions on the board.
I do think that the Owl might be...
yeah, it's probably more important here.
Probably more important here, because the one thing that Killin also needs to make sure he does is slow down quest progress, because there's almost no way he kills Bloody if he completes the quest. 30 health, okay, manageable. 30 plus 40 or however much plus 40, not really manageable for an Odd Warrior to do. So I think Iron Beak Gal is just, what do you do beyond that? And it looks like cute for the pressure and the Iron Beak Gal throwing out there, so. Ooh, Radiant.
Another Radiant Elemental. I mean, pretty much. Oh, wait. He doesn't need Stone Tusk board anymore. He has all the.
Oh, he has a minion on the board, yeah.
This should do it, and he has more than enough mana.
Yep.
You only need, I think, 7 mana because you don't actually need to play Stone Tusk board from hand. And so with 2 Radiant Elementals, 2 Vivid Nightmares, that's it. Wow, what a quick kill. And, I mean, Killen still put a reasonable amount of pressure on. You know, if Bloodyface didn't have the Psychic Scream, this game still gave Odd Warrior a small chance.
Even with Psychic Scream, if Killen was able to clear off the board, there's no way you can ever expect the quest to be completed this quickly. So,
real quick, TJ, the caveat to this is that there is a potential hand space issue if Bloodyface doesn't play this carefully. Some people get really careless with how they stack their buffs, and then they lose the last topsy-turvy. But, you know, given that Killinallday is only at 38 and not at some absurd life count where he's in the hundreds, there shouldn't be too much of that worry and concern. I think that was probably the only one thing that Noblord was worried about when he played this exact mirror match against Bloodyface.
Yeah.
He looks like he got the combo off, but I think it was probably a little bit too close for comfort.
That was also the look of pretty much every Topsy-Turvy Priest player we've seen on camera after they win a game with Topsy-Turvy Priest.
Wait, whoa, wait, no, whoa.
He got it. And then he just has the Topsy-Turvy.
Okay. I thought he forgot to flip his last his thing because he wasn't done yet, but he got it. There you go.
Yeah. And that was probably, honestly, as close as Killen's going to get. I think this APM Priest is his best matchup on paper, and you can see why. For 30 at the World Championship and a runner-up finish from the previous championship, and now looking like he's going to make to his second one in a row.
Well,
I think that decision's paying off.
Don't call it too early, TJ.
No, I'm not calling it too early. And
you are right that it's very likely that he does.
Yeah.
Each passing game.
Yeah, and I want to sort of paint a picture of this group in general. In the winners match, we had Bloodyface versus Noblord, who were both playing the Ultra Control Killer OTK decks, with Noblord having a little bit of an edge because he had the Mecha'thun Warlock in place of the Quest Rogue, which ended up being the difference maker. And the other two players in the group, Killinallday and Starfruit, both were Control Warrior players, the Odd Warrior players. So it was just kind of unfortunate, especially considering Nalgadon had the same lineup as Killinallday nearly, that they ended up getting in that group because they were getting preyed upon by those slow combo decks of Bloodyface and Noblord. And that's why they met in that lower bracket match. But, like I said, or like you said, don't count them out just yet, because these on paper are like 80-20 matchups. So there's always that 20%. And Killen got surprisingly close in the last game. And it's possible in this one. Also, Bloodyface is a great technical player, but no player is immune to mistakes.
Yeah, and I mean, Bloodyface did have a couple of games where he looked shakier yesterday than we normally expect him to be. And that's just because of the high standard that he's put for himself and for us. You know, when we saw him play the championship, this guy was picture perfectly. I think he played the best at the fall season, even though he got second. No shame in that. But in terms of playing best, it's more of the consistency of how few mistakes that he tends to make. And, you know, even today, there's a couple of, like, small things that you can debate. Like, for example, against Noblord, did you keep the quest in the mirror when you're playing a topsy-turvy, you know, ditto, essentially? And then that's kind of small stuff that can influence percentages. But overall, his general game plan is usually spot on, even if the small micro decisions tend to be questionable every now and then.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's very minute, too. You know, those are things that are not super impactful compared to, say, do you understand what's like the important time? Are you controlling in this position, or are you passing, or are you trying to be even more aggressive? Now that said, Bloodyface has already some of the really important pieces, which is Gadsden Auctioneer plus cheap stuff and King Togwaggle. You can see that Bloodyface values the hand space right now, so dumping the Pyromancer isn't really that big of a deal. And now Killen has interesting position where he could even leave up this Wild Pyromancer and make things like the Gadsden Auctioneer and a little bit more awkward with how the one damage to all minions interacts with the board.
But that could also put him in a spot where if he expects Gadget and Auctioneer turn, then his own board could end up being removed if Bloodyface has the right combination. And then add on top of that the potential for Floop's Glorious Gloop. If that's thrown into a Gadget and Auctioneer train, and Bloodyface is able to kill off some minions from Killinallday, then he could draw even more cards. So it is a very dangerous minion to leave up, but at some point Killinallday's got to put on the pressure. Because while this Hakar deck is not a true OTK, it needs a few turns. It snowballs on top of each other turn after turn.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. If you want to go for maximum stats with the Direhorn Hatchling on the far left, or do you want to go for the cube in case you're trying to anticipate removal?
Yeah.
And he does. I mean, this is the turn where Gadget and Auctioneer wants to go off, and you know, Killen removes that, foregoing a little bit of extra damage.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Now Bloodyface has Innervate. He's got Biology Project and 2 cheap spells to go with it. Pounce.
I mean, almost the entire deck is cheap spells outside of Auctioneers,
More than half.
Togwaggle, Hakar, and maybe a couple of Branching Paths thrown in there for the armor gain, but it just makes it so difficult to apply pressure.
Man, he is just going so deep. 6 cards drawn, 7 now, 8 with the Bark Skin. Yeah, before this turn started, Bloody had twice as many cards in his deck.
But Killinallday is at 10 mana himself now also, which means he can put on a little bit more pressure, but how much really is that? He can Iron Beguile the Gadget and Auctioneer. There is some merit to potentially holding on to it if Bloodyface messes up somewhere and uses the Innervate and can't kill Hakar and just throws it onto the board. Killen does have 2 Iron Beak Owls, so maybe by that time he'll have drawn the second one, but Bloodyface is going to cycle through his deck quickly. But you're not dealing with this Gadget and Auctioneer, and it's too threatening to leave up, so I think you just have to use it now, because at that point, if they draw more cards and play a card and it doesn't get off, by that time they probably togged you, and you're in fatigue anyway, and you're probably going to lose because you can't amount pressure and they have cards in your deck. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's actually fairly important, too, to see if you can dump your hand in preparation for that, so that way you don't give them that easy naturalized situation where they King Togwaggle and then go for the naturalized.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of Odd Warrior players love to squeeze out the value, but having low hand count in those late game scenarios, and yes, even though we're at like turn 7, it is very much a late game scenario with this deck.
So there's an option for overdraw here for Killen, but Bloodyface already has everything that he needs. So it's not really that worth it.
Is there anything that he could burn that would make life more difficult? He already has the Hakar, Innervate, Naturalize, and the King Togwaggle.
Maybe card draw, just so these last 5 cards might be a little bit more difficult.
The problem is the deeper that Bloodyface draws is the worse for Killen.
Yeah.
Maybe maximum board pressure. Like Killen just says, forget it, you're going to draw cards. You know, cube to cube, play Direhorn Hatchling, go all out.
Yeah, and that also serves the purpose of emptying hand as much as possible. Playing double 5-drop.
Yeah, I like that. I'm just trying to find the maximum pressure possible. And I mean, this is a pretty fearsome board. Let's be honest here. This is probably the most that Odd Warrior's been able to do all event long that I've seen to a slow deck like this. This is 7, 9, 11, 21, 24 damage. A tickle into the Druid's armor. Oh no, with Branching Paths, Killinallday might remove Bloodyface's armor and make him lower than 30 life.
Wow. Neat.
Neat.
I wonder.
Bloodyface does actually have to partition his resources, though, because it's not that... as much as we were joking, like, oh, Drew has a lot of armor, Killinallday can kill him in 2 turns if he just allowed to keep this board. And Pyromancer is pretty important, but Bloodyface already has used
I got the best deals anywhere.
his bark skin, so he's not going to be able to get like ridiculous amount of Pyromancer layers into it.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to gain armor instead. Still no defender. Is there anything that could be really important here? No, if I'm killing all day, I think I want to draw as close as I can to the pack before Bloodyface inevitably switches decks.
Yeah.
The problem is, if you draw too much and focus on your hand size being relevant, then you're just gonna, you know, again, give yourself less turns to kill your opponent because you have the board.
But armor count can be, armor count can be relevant.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like I said, it's not a true OTK. It takes a little bit of turns to ramp up. There are breakpoints, but the breakpoints are hard to spot because it depends on how many points of fatigue you're taking during each round of shuffle-ins. So if he's not doing anything here, I think taking the shield block actually would be decent. But I guess he has another turn to do it, and he might as well just damages again.
Yeah. Max damage. Pounce. So Bloodyface should be able to clear off most of this. Although, it's starting to get a little rocky. Because this is still a lot of sturdiness. I think Killen did an excellent job building up board presence. But it's not enough damage. 15, 20, 26. And Bloodyface is at 33.
Okay.
However,
well, Bloodyface can still draw those corrupted
what
bloods.
if he draws it? I mean, if I'm killing, I'm getting in there with that Super Collider for 1 damage.
I am too. And I'm probably shield blocking as well to try and find that pack before he gets the swap off. Card with the card, so you might as well use it.
Oh, faceless.
Oh, faceless,
He
okay.
had that board. If he had that board, it would be pretty nasty.
And swing for 1.
Yeah, nothing quite like a Collider hammer to the face. Bloodyface will have single-digit life. So it is scary, but it's not determined just yet.
Ooh!
That is way too close for comfort.
Almost out of cards.
Is it enough damage, TJ? He didn't deck out.
Well, also he can swap back.
You're right, but I mean, how much damage is he going to get before that point? That's kind of the big question mark.
Cards.
Oh, I think he's got it. I think he's got it. Yeah. There's too many shuffled in. The card number count on the bottom of the deck is messing me up a little bit.
He was at 23. He's at 16.
Almost out of cards.
So 32 damage.
Wow. And he had that 1 fatigue. That 2 fatigue damage, rather. Killing all day. Didn't have enough life.
Of this series. We will see later on at the World Championship, which will happen in April in Taiwan, as was announced when Dan and I were over in Taiwan casting the All-Stars event. And I also, both these players, championship also joined Viper and Bunny Hopper. So,
right, yeah.
Because of that, any player that hasn't already qualified for the World Championship that goes to the Winter Championship has a higher chance of making it through.
3 spots.
3 spots.
At least. I mean, Asia Pacific is next week. What if, Blood Trail again qualifies?
Which also
Tyler goes through,
Which also makes Winter Championship more exciting because it means that if a few of the players that have already qualified for Worlds make it to the top 4, in order to get those 4 world spots, we have to play a playoff.
Ooh, are we going to show that?
Between 5th through 8th. I don't know.
We should.
But regardless, it's cool. I'll volunteer for it.
I'll volunteer too, TJ.
Even if it's just me with a camera casting over their shoulders from a distance, zoomed in as far as I can.
Yeah.
I'll do everything I can to make that happen. Yeah! Get
Yeah,
him!
we could have our own Hearthstone championship tour, TJ. With blackjack and no hunters.
That sounds like a wonderful place.
That was the very family-friendly version.
Yes, I was frightened for a moment. I was like, I'm gonna have to take up Dan's mouse and carry him off the stage that way, but not in a cool way, in a very not cool way.
Well, Killinallday center back on this game here. He does have this Shadow Reaper Anduin in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to pivot a little bit, by the way, just for reference. This is his clone priest. I haven't seen Killen really play any other deck besides Odd Warrior on stream.
No.
So I'm like, what other decks does he have? He has clone priest. He's got mid-range hunter. And we define mid-range hunter by whether or not they have secrets and spellstones. So it's pretty much like secret hunter, but minus the secret pack.
Yes.
aka mid-range hunter. And then Odd Rogue, which was banned.
But this matchup's much better.
Oh yeah.
Much better. And like I said, this is in their off-stream initial match for this group. They played this series in almost the exact same way, where Bloodyface went up 2-0 against Control Warrior. Killinallday decided to take a break from the Control Warrior, queue up his other decks, beat the Holy Wrath, the OTK Paladin twice, and then Game 5 was the Holy Wrath Paladin versus Killinallday's Warrior, and Bloodyface took it. So we could be seeing a very similar results in that, but if that's the case, then I'm excited for game number 5 because I want some crazy stuff to happen. But first off, Killinallday's got to get there.
Yeah.
And it's a better match than the Control Warrior, but
Well,
it's not easy.
TJ, the reason why I'm scared is because Bloodyface already has all of his late game stuff that he really wants. He's got Shrivala, Baleful Banker, and Holy Wrath, so he can set up the 25 damage. He has Uther, so as long as Killinallday can, if he doesn't get enough to really assemble anything meaningful damage, then Bloodyface already has that set up, and he's already so far deep into his deck with more call draw. He's got Novice Engineer and Potion of Heroism. Now, that being said, Killen did just pick up Shadow Visions. So Shadow Visions can be a really important card to pick up Spellstone or Eternal Servitude or something else. Just maybe Xeric's Cloning Gallery itself. Bloodyface is going to remove with his face.
Yep, he'll be able to go down to 27 or 23, but then heal back down up to 25.
Jay, Bloodyface already has double Youthful Brewmaster as well.
Yeah.
So if he runs out of card draw, he can just play the bouncing game.
Which is likely to... Well, no, against Priest. Sorry, I was still in the Control Warrior mindset. Against Control Warrior, you almost always have to go for the OTK with Uther as opposed to the Holy Wrath. But it's going to become more and more likely that he gets it, especially with Shadow Brandon played. It means that this life total is pretty static outside of Spirit Lash.
Yeah, but that heal is not irrelevant for the Crystal Smith Kangor. That is a high priority removal because Bloodyface also just drew Flash of Light. So now he has Uther of the Ebon Blade and Flash of Light to gain back 18 life if Killinallday is not careful. So he has to kill that off for starters.
Yes.
Ooh, Eternal Servitude. Not many minions have died. We have a Gilded Gargoyle, we have a Radiant, we have Prophet Valen.
Is there a way that he can win?
Well, not with just Mind Blast and Holy Smite.
Well, you have to think, once he brings back Prophet Velen, he also gets to weave in the hero powers, which deal 4.
Okay, so Mind Blast does 10 and Holy Smite does 4.
And then you weave in 3, you need to weave in 3 hero powers. So he chip off the armor this turn and finds a Mind Blast with the Shadow Visions. Ooh, okay.
Well, the Spellstone is interesting too because he already has some pretty good pieces in the pool already with the Prophet Valen. The Cloning Gallery is also very interesting too because, well, with Cloning Gallery, you might just pull Malagos and do some really silly things too. This is starting to fire up. I don't know what's going to happen. Is Bloodyface even scared enough to pull the trigger on timeout early?
Yeah, so Killinallday's minions that he has left in his deck. Malagos, the Lich King, Ziliax, Lyra, Gilded Gargoyle, 1 copy, and 1 Radiant Elemental.
7 minions.
That's 6.
That's 6 minions.
6 minions. So he knows the outcome of Xerx's Cloning Gallery. He will have a Malagos and 1 Radiant Elemental. He has 2 coins.
Oh!
Yeah, that's... Yep.
Wow, that is omega yikes, TJ. That is very bad news for Killinallday. That's kind of what this deck is, though. You got to roll with the punches. It is very dependent on what's in your deck versus what's in your hand. Let's do some science.
Going for Lyra magic.
Find him. It's another roll. Twilight's Call summons back the Gilded Gargoyles. Multiple Twilight's Call. Actually, that's decently useful because of the coins. Fastest spell. Death Coil, perhaps? Okay, Death and Decay.
Okay.
Reasonable. The thing is, though, Bloodyface can... Well, he can deal with this board. He has Pyromancer, but he had Consecration before that. And he also can just get another Horseman now.
Azeroth will be purified.
And there, that's a unique Horseman.
Yep. So 1 Horseman away, plus a bounce effect of some sort, which Baleful Banker serves, but it could be on a delay.
Yes.
And now Killinallday does not have the Radiant in hand, so can't make crazy double Radiant plays. So has 1 in deck, so this Xerx will pull 1. Doesn't also get the value of the second Gilded Gargoyle because his hand was full, and he will burn a card. I don't know if that really matters. Ew.
This is not looking good. I don't even know if Killinallday can get back to his Odd Warrior to try again. I mean, just look at the beatdown alone, TJ.
Yep.
Like, it's not even necessarily Bloodyface killing him with some Horseman Apocalypse. He's killing him with pandas.
Darkness speaks to me.
Just getting slapped around by the Pandaren. Well, and Death Knight weapons, but it's like how I think Bloodyface has hit for like 18 to the face. Oh no, he hit probably Valen once with the weapon, but like that's how much damage he generated.
He's the aggressor in this matchup.
He beat him down with 2 swings of the 5 attack.
He doesn't even
He
doesn't even need the OTK.
Yeah.
Oh man. Celiax. Maybe Gilded Gargoyle to try and do something fancy.
It's probably Radiant actually in this position.
Yeah, but what?
He's that desperate. This Death and Decay, Hero Power,
and chip off the last piece of armor, but I don't know. Now that he doesn't have Eternal Servitude, he can't find a crazy lethal if he draws Holy Smite into Mind Blast.
He could Xerx's Cloning Gallery again for Lyra Miracles, but with that Zola draw.
Just needs the 1 last unique Horseman.
The time has come.
Bloodyface is going to the Winter Championship, TJ. That is the 3rd Horseman.
Has the timeout as well. Just double checking, triple checking. Yep, that's 3 of them. Timeout played. Unless Killinallday can find Uther and get all 4 Horsemen himself by some miracle, which isn't possible, even with Lyra and million Radiant Elementals.
No, it's the immunity. The immunity is too much.
He might as well just have fun one last time.
Sure. Lyra comes out again. Circle of Healing. We'll play out this song and dance, but with the immunity to the hero, there's nothing he can do to win right now. He only can have hand disruption. I mean, he's having a lot of fun.
You like to play
There's nothing more fun than arms.
Oh no. A valiant effort by Killinallday, who has gotten this far once again, but I think it is fitting, DJ, that he has a reputation for always being one standing off from where he wants to be to advance to the next stage. In the meantime, we have yet another player from Americas who's going to a consecutive championship.
Priest, or whatever you want to call it, or the topsy-turvy priest. This also gets the win very quickly if it's not aggroed down.
It really does, and this is going to be kicking off this series. Is the mirror of the double topsy-turvy going to go down now? Bloodyface versus Noblord. Bloodyface are already feeling good about his year of HCT so far. Noblord, everything to play for. The winner goes on to champs. The loser goes into the losers round and tries a second go.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about with Ike the deservedness of him getting through to the Winter Championships, but for Noblord, having made literally every America's playoffs and played prelims, and still waiting to have a truly big breakout performance, or breakthrough, I should say.
And this deviation is already something I want to talk about, Garrett, because, you know, Bloodyface throws the quest, and Noblord keeps the quest, and has Noblord now realized, you know, the issue, basically.
But Bloodyface drew it as the first card off
so
the top
funny.
of his deck.
And Noblord's just cracking up. Yeah. So Noblord, knowing he did not mulligan correctly straight off the bat, was glad that Bloodyface effectively -1 card, and that is just funny.
Because I was going to bring that up. I was anticipating they would both mulligan the quest. What does it do?
Yeah, well, put yourself to 40 after you played Death Rattles, but yeah, nothing in the grand scheme of things. But again, I'll just mention it. That happened, and Bloodyface, no reaction whatsoever.
Yeah.
Noblord cracking up. And it just shows that Bloodyface just always looks calm no matter what. He might not be feeling it, but that's the way he's perceived, at least.
And that is one of my favorite aspects of Noblord as a player and a person, is just how surprisingly meme literate he is. A
quality you appreciate in any
more than anything.
Okay, so these are looking very mirrored games as well.
Yeah.
Right? Both loot hoarders buffed up, both harnesses on the board. The heals to stop the loot hoarder trading, to reduce the card draw down. We told you were in for some wacky matches, and we're already kicking it off.
This is just whatever the tutorial of Hearthstone teaches you to do, you should do literally the exact opposite, I think, in this matchup. Like, if you have a board, whew, better get rid of this board real quick. I do not want to have any minions here.
Definitely strange. And it requires an in-depth knowledge of the matchup as well, because, you know, you might have practiced, okay, how do I play this deck versus Evenlock, or versus Druid, or Paladin? You know, you might just not practice the mirror that much, because it's not like this is a highly brought deck. All we've done all weekend is cast Cloning Gallery and Control Priest, and this is neither.
Well, dare I say, they both have not practiced this very much, because one player kept the quest, one didn't. One of them must have made a mistake in that.
Yeah, drawing the quest.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But it's an interesting point to bring up yet again, as this, at the moment, you know, it's some weird stuff going on, but it's pretty much just drawing cards, trying to not overdraw, get rid of your board so it can't be Psychic Screamed. But keeping the quest is interesting because it does actually have some merit. If you can stick the 8/8 onto the board that is afforded to you, that can act as the boar in the combo. You do not need a charge minion then, because it's stuck on the board. And, well, I suppose any minion that sticks
can make an attack. Yeah,
any minion that sticks can do that. But Amara is most likely to stick because it is fairly chunky.
And, you know, this deck never really took off. But what are these players actually looking for to create the OTK combo? Because a lot of people watching, I imagine, won't know, and I imagine there's some people on the desk won't exactly know sometimes, depending on the outcomes, because it can get a little bit wacky. But at a base level, what are they looking for?
Yeah, so what you're looking for is Test Subject, Divine Spirit, Topsy Turvy, Stone Tusk Boar, and then 3 out of the 4 of 2 Radiant Elementals and 2 Vivid Nightmares.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to create 3 Radiant Elementals by the end of the combo. It gets very weird, but the interesting part, I believe, is along the way how players go about finding that with plays like this. Because you're playing 2 test subjects, you can very happily throw down the first one, even copy it with Vivid Nightmare, as we saw, to kind of duplicate the Vivid Nightmares. He's created this from nothing.
Yeah, and as you said, these Vivid Nightmares now, well, there's 2.
Brilliant.
So you're already feeling
Yep.
pretty good about life. You're ticking towards that combo pretty nicely. Divine Spirit, Radiant in there.
He literally just needs the ball, right?
Yes.
Which means, does he have lethal next turn if this sticks? Because the combo is 8 mana, if I'm correct in remembering. It's either 8 or 9, and if he already has the minion on board, he doesn't need to play the ball.
So he needs 1 for the Gnome. There's
Yeah.
the Radiant, which will -1. So then there's Vivid Nightmares, which would then go to the next Vivid Nightmares is 1, so it'll be 2 and 1.
5.
But then,
I-
then everything becomes free.
I honestly think the combo might be there next turn if this isn't killed off.
Wow, and can you even make that call if you're Bloodyface? Like,
I mean, what a play from Noblord as well to create the second Vivid Nightmare, possibly just spotting that the combo is right there.
I'm kind of okay to just go on this ride with you here, Derek,
Yeah, I mean,
because like I'm just sat here going, wait, is he just dead?
I am very possibly making a mistake here, but
Well, we're about to find out
it might
because
be that he needs to wait till next turn.
you don't take this deck and not know circumstances like this, right? You don't bring this deck to playoffs if you can't recognize things like this. And he had the 2 Nightmares. So it'll be 3 mana with the 2 minions.
Yeah.
Vivid becomes 2. You play 1, so that's 5 mana. Then the next Vivid becomes 1. You play that. That's 6 mana. And then everything's free.
Yeah.
Am I missing something?
I don't know, dude. I honestly don't know.
Oh, wait. Do you need to replay the Leponome, which costs more mana?
Well, you never replay it, right? Because it just copies it and then you flip it with Vivid Nightmare.
Right, sure. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just trying to think of ways that it can cost more.
And
I
mean,
think that's what Noblord's doing right now, to be honest.
He's figuring through it, and the longer he takes, he may just not have the time to do it. So I wouldn't begrudge him at all for just holding back if he's not sure it's there.
Well, also, it's unlikely that he's dead next turn. So maybe he's like, give me a minute to work it out, and I'll use this turn to work it out,
Yeah, I
and then I'll
think
kill him
actually
next turn.
he never dies next turn because Bloodyface doesn't have a minion, so he has to spend the 1 mana for ball,
Right.
which means he's not there. And I mean, if Noblord doesn't see it, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm making a mistake and it wasn't there, because I trust Noblord much more than I do myself with this deck. But it was an interesting position. Maybe it was just there. Who knows?
Now, we talked about just a bit before we joined the desk here that maybe this matchup between these both players across all decks goes pretty long.
Yeah.
But you can see very quickly that these combo decks do actually end the game, especially when you're looking at Mechathune, Warlock being in there as well.
Maybe he was just one off. Mass Hysteria, though, I think this is looking more and more like this is actually just it now.
I believe his second top seed doesn't actually change anything, does it?
He's going for it.
Well played.
Oh, and there's the well
The
played
seance
already.
as well.
Bloodyface knows, yeah, the
However you
seance
wanna
will
go about
duplicate,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's effectively the same outcome, and there you go.
That is how volatile this matchup is, and for Noblord as well. Although I was kind of brushing over the first few turns because it looked like they were just drawing a whole bunch of cards, and there were, some tricks along the way with healing opponents' minions. That one play from Noblord to copy the Vivid Nightmare is really what was so
Right.
gorgeous here, realizing he does not need the Stone Tusk Ball if he sticks something in play. And he's just floating 1 mana here, isn't he? So he did technically have it last turn, I think, if
Right.
he wanted to go for it, but
Wait, has Noblord done something wrong?
no, he's got it right. Noblord does not mess this
It's just
combo
because maybe he's just locked it in and already done everything, and the game's
he's
catching
got it,
up.
he's got it.
Okay, yeah, you're right. This one's difficult to mess up now because it's just you top seed and kill them, and wow, out of nowhere, Noblord takes the first game, and as you said, a very volatile mirror match because there's not a lot that your opponent can do to stop it outside of clear face in the Priest mirror. But now he's moving on. It's 1-0, Noblord going for the Mechathune Warlock versus this Priest again. And this one might be a little bit more difficult because we talk about how fast Mechathune Warlock gets the job done. Does this Priest just get it done quicker?
Well, we did clearly see in that last game, what was it, turn 7 there was the potential for lethal,
Right,
and
and then
turn 8
8,
lethal was delivered, which is that is strictly faster than Mechathune Warlock can kill you. I think even in like the absolute god draw scenario, you never draw your deck before like turn 9,
Right.
I think, and then the lethal on turn 10. But I think usually you're drawing through your whole deck when you're not being pressured on like turn 10 or 11, kill them the following turn. if Bloodyface doesn't get the god draw that Noblord got last time, he could just be losing this game because of that. The potential, if it goes perfectly, the Priest will win this.
Right.
But the Warlock is more consistent in its draw, even though its combo may technically be slower.
Yep, the second there, Bloodyface just whiffs on something, doesn't draw the boar, because also as well, it's less likely the Warlock will let a minion stay up or unfrozen in the hint of this Glacial Shard here, for example, so...
Mind if I roll knee?
So, as you can see, both decks just... What an age we live in, Derek. Hearthstone is no longer about minions hitting each other. It's about players drawing cards.
It's so unbelievably backwards. Noblord here deliberately keeping his opponent's minions alive so that Twilight's Call cannot resurrect them and keep the card draw going. He just wants to keep them alive as long as possible, because the chip damage here, who cares? He's not dying, he's got heal in the deck. He will never be dying to this minion pressure. It's just he wants to slow down the card draw as much as he can.
Yeah, now with the Wax Elemental, also a very nice minion at 100% just stalling, because it doesn't kill anything that attacks into it, it just buys time.
Looking at Bloodyface's hand, every card in his hand is a piece of the combo at the moment. 3 more card draws coming in from his board as well, as Noblord yet again makes it so Bloodyface cannot kill off his own board. This is like one of the first things you learn about Hearthstone is like, at first you're very hesitant to kill any minions like Loot Hoarder that draw a card when they die, but eventually you realize it doesn't really make too much difference when they die, you just want to lock down the board. Here for for Noblord, he is going all in, just keeping them alive no matter what.
Right, and now there's too many minions to really stop.
Yeah.
Defile can come down. Yes, Bloodyface draws a lot of cards, but Noblord draws some cards too, so it's absolutely fine.
And also, it's getting not quite there, but it's getting a little bit closer to Psychic Scream. And even though he wants lots of minions on the board at the start of the game, turn 7 onwards, Noblord wants absolutely no minions on the board at any point.
Right.
If he gets all the combo pieces for Mechathune, in which I'm obviously talking about Double Galvanizer, Blood Bloom, Cataclysm, and Mechathune itself, he will very happily burn every card out of his deck at that point, just so he doesn't have to play minions.
And we might even see, minion played Hellfire. Just to keep it empty, keep it cooking, keep the hand space clear. And there's Mechathune, which means now Galvanizer can be played. Galvanizer is not part of the OTK, it just enables the OTK. So
he can play
you
it
can just drop it down now. Now that Mechathune's in hand, just throw it down.
And I love this as well from Noblord. Loads of minions being played on this turn to clear off hand space before turn 7. This is going into turn 6. Next turn, Hellfire, Defile, Godfrey, whatever, he can kill off this whole board. Just to stop the Psychic Scream from shuffling minions back into his deck.
Now we can just play this Thanos and Hellfire if he really wants to, or
Thanos, Defile, like
maybe
whatever.
Defile.
As long as he keeps the card draw rolling, he's going to be happy.
As long as a minion stays off the board as well for
sorry.
Bloodyface. Bloodyface will not want an attack. Sorry. Noblord will not want Bloodyface to have an attack because he could just die quite easy, especially with this low health total.
That's a good point.
You might just die randomly, and it sounds silly, but 2 Divine Spirits and the top scene, you're dead. Galvanizer going to reduce the Ziliax as like a side thing there.
Yeah.
But there's just 1 more Galvanizer, and Noblord is almost good to go.
And the important thing as well is, as soon as Noblord finds the second Galvanizer, he can start just burning every card in his deck. He does not care.
Solarium is locked and loaded, ready to go.
Whatever. You just turbo through your whole deck.
Funnily enough, as well, a little bit strange, but the Galvanizer being magnetized as a Galvanizer means that Psychic Scream...
a good point.
Oh no, I draw my Galvanizer again. Sweet.
Yeah.
Very, very nice play from Noblord there. There you go.
Yeah.
There's the Galvanizer. So now, the third Galvanizer does not matter.
Yes,
The combo's the combo, so now you just burn again.
That's a good point.
So actually, Psychic Screamed a quicker way for Noblord to win the game back into the deck. It sounds weird, but the Ziliax was magnetized, so it's still just 1 minion.
So was that just a misplay from Bloodyface then?
It's hard to make a call that your opponent just doesn't have the other Galvanizer anyway.
Yes, exactly, because Noblord could have the second one in hand, but he would have played that probably by this point, right? Why would he hold it back if he had the second one?
I guess he could always play it. I mean, yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's hard. But it's just funny the way, Noblord with a very nice play of, I play a minion, it either heals me, it's a taunt, or you Psychic Scream it, and I'm likely to draw it again. Perfect.
Because obviously, Bloodyface knows that Noblord is very unlikely to play more than 1 minion again.
Yes.
But even if it's just 1 minion, that's the same effect, right? As here, Noblord decided to go for
Solarium.
another Novice Engineer instead of Defile. He could have just let the Novice Engineer get burned and played Defile to destroy 2 of his minions. Yes, it means he draws 1 less card because the Novice Engineer is burned, but on average, overall, he now has more cards he has to draw.
Interesting.
It did not work out for him well at all.
Now he knows, though, that the millionth galvanizer of the day.
Yeah.
Now he knows, though, that everything's gone. The weird part is he doesn't have any heal anymore.
Yeah, it's like
so
the combo for Bloodyface could just be Boar to win the game.
Oh yeah, he has to Spellstone because he can't attack. He can't go to 4.
Because otherwise
can't die.
Cataclysm would
Yeah,
kill
Blood
him.
Bloom kills him with Cataclysm.
Yeah. Wow.
What a
What a weird
What
game.
is Hearthstone? Blizzard, what's Hearthstone nowadays? I'm
Cheeky
confused.
Ankle Biter was...
One was played.
One was played, one was overdrawn by the Solarium, and Ziliax has been played and then unwritten from existence when the Psychic Scream happened.
Nice way of putting it.
So Corpse Taker no longer has lifesteal, I believe.
Yeah, it shouldn't have, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned, unless we're just
Maybe we're
blanking on a
missing
card in
something.
the deck list, but
But I
I'm pretty
think-
sure we're not.
Double Ankle Biter plus Ziliax is the lifesteal left in the deck.
Okay,
The
so
amount of heal is limited.
4 cards. Although Acolyte Defile.
Yeah.
Because Noblord almost can barely tap right now.
Yes.
Because in no world could he go to 4 health and not be able to heal.
Bloodyface making a nice play of almost certainly destroying off his 2 minions here to increase the draw. Sad that he gets the resurrection on the test subject instead of a dead ring.
Oh. Wait.
That was shuffled into his deck.
No, I'm just thinking, so does Novice Engineer Acolyte Defile draw him his deck? It does, right? 1, 2,
Overdraw
3.
him though. He doesn't want to overdraw because the damage that he takes.
But as,
It doesn't
he wins
matter.
next turn.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
He wins next turn, right?
Yeah,
So I
you're
think the Novice Engineer has actually opened up that Defile to actually win the game.
Or he could just tap here. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, you
Right,
play
yeah,
the
yeah,
second
yeah,
one,
yeah.
as long as you draw the final card next turn and you clear your board so that it can't be screamed again. Even though I think
Both Screams were
both
played.
screams were
Yep.
played and neither were from Visions. Right.
Correct.
I don't know, man. It's looking like it's all on not Bloodyface to
Well
find the
played.
combo right now. But he... Oh no, wait, he's got it. He's got the full combo.
did we just-
with
so-
the test subject? He picked up the test subject, which was exactly the card he needed.
Oh, wow. One.
Just in time.
And you've got to ask yourself, was the Scream earlier and the no Defile a problem?
Maybe that would have given him the 1 turn earlier to get the combo he needed. But as long as Bloodyface doesn't mess this up, which his opponent's at 8 health, how could he?
It's very difficult, right? You're not
It's
trying to hit.
very difficult.
You're not hitting through taunts. You're not hitting through armor. Just deal 8 damage.
Oh man, so close in this matchup.
Yeah, and maybe the Defile earlier was just better.
I don't know. We'd have to go through it. This is the kind of thing where the players like Noblord, who are so good at figuring out discrete differences in
Right.
lines, would be thriving. But it doesn't work out from here on.
Bloodyface, yeah, pulling this off with 0 hands as he takes a drink from his water ball because he is already locked in this combo. Now he can just Vivid Nightmares the ball. Nothing too fancy, just 2 4-attack balls will get the job done. And Bloodyface takes a win there with the Priest. We were maybe too laser focused on Noblord setting up the 1-turn kill after drawing all his deck. But Bloodyface getting a win, and now 2 games in a row, this Priest is just on. We're going to move swiftly on, and we're going to hit the question mark for you, Derek. Bloodyface on the Quest Rogue, Noblord on the Paladin.
Yeah, the Paladin is obviously on both sides. I feel like that's going to be struggling for both players here. Like you said, the Quest Rogue for me is a question mark because I have been taught throughout months of playing Hearthstone where Quest Rogue has always been a pretty good deck, or at least a meta call if you're in a high control meta. It should be destroying this lineup. It's no aggro decks. Quest Rogue destroys everything that isn't aggro, but I just feel like in today's Hearthstone, where late game combos are so powerful, Quest Rogue's just too slow a lot of the time.
Yeah, and also I think it's a mixture of the value-orientated Quest Rogue of today is not the aggressive Quest Rogue of, when they were 5/5s, needed less bounces.
Oh,
You like,
catches.
it was pretty much an OTK deck, right? A lot of the time you just killed someone after the quest.
Yep.
That's not really the case anymore. And as we said, the big question now is, can it get the job done? And one thing I will say, Bloodyface has been getting the job done so far because he's here in the winners match.
Yeah.
So it's been doing something, but can it beat this kind of heavy combo lineup that Noblord's playing?
To be perfectly honest, I do not know. I have
Same.
not been playing any quest rogue at all on ladder. If I have seen any rogue, it's pretty much all just been odd rogue. But it will be
Or
very
a
interesting to
strange
find out.
smattering of Malygos rogue I've had on ladder over the last few days.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie.
Yeah.
As already Hearthstone rules have gone out the window. Here, you know what? Have a divine shield on your minion. Why not?
Bloodyface there, you can see his road of destruction that led him to this point with, you know, big wins. Double win over Killinallday as he met him in the Swiss a little bit earlier in the weekend. Win over Language Hacker, the previous champion.
Nice bit of revenge.
Yeah, Apex Void as well, Villain. You know, these are all fantastic wins and pretty convincing by looks things too.
Yeah, just a great meta read against most of the players, a lot of whom had Odd Warrior as well. You just never ever lose.
We can check out Noblord's and how he did win over ETC. And maybe a little less star-studded, you know, a path to victory here for Noblord, but still a very strong performance nonetheless.
I mean, it's not bad. ETC, I think, came in at like 6th seed in terms of points so far.
Starfruit doing well
Starfruit doing very well. Yep, Clay just narrowly missing the top 8 as well.
Noblord gonna consecrate that shield back off. It's like, no, you're done with it now. Man, I want it back. Like a neighbor who's borrowed a power tool for too long.
Yeah, but instead of just asking for it back, they consecrate your house. A particularly zealous neighbor.
Gotta be careful who you lend tools off. But mainly killing off that minstrel is just, you're not allowed that kind of value, right? I don't want you to just draw your deck and then play whatever you want.
I think it's also just playing a card from his hand, right? Like, he's got Pyro Equality for a board clear if needed.
Only 4 off lethal if this Holy Wrath.
Even just letting rip with the Holy Wrath there. He runs 2 copies in his deck, so he's still given himself that avenue for Shivala OTK, and also still got the avenue for Horseman OCK, depending on which is most appropriate.
Every time someone targets a minion with Holy Wrath, I always want it to hit for 25. It's just funny. It's like, that minion is really dead right now. like, I only had 2 health. It's like, no, you'll die. 10 times over.
You've really run through this fantasy in your head, haven't you? Just really
playing a lot
killing
harder.
one minion.
It's like, can I hit this so hard it can never be, like, come back? I've thought about that all about Clone Priest. Can he just not res this if I kill it hard enough?
Interestingly enough, since casting with you, I've also fantasized about hitting something so hard it just never comes back.
Yeah. I mean, we both have those thoughts about Sol quite often.
Very true. As Bloodyface here, we've kind of just been glossing over the play so far because it's just been, to be honest, pretty both players just doing their own thing for the most part. Noblord has been clearing off, I suppose, so that Bloodyface can't develop too big of a board to vanish it back. But Bloodyface has been trying to complete the quest. Noblord has been trying to draw cards. They're just doing that both to the best of their ability. It's pretty simple for the moment.
These Glacial Shards could make it a little bit awkward once Uther comes into play.
That's true.
Just saying we just don't get to swing for a few turns, so it reduces the chance of the Holy Wrath out being a kill. Because it does do the 25. There's Shivala.
Okay, now we're talking.
I think we might even see Coin Uther next turn, just to really get the ball rolling on these Death Knights. I keep calling them Death Knights.
Yeah.
The 4 Horsemen, just in case.
Clears the hand, right? That's pretty good as well.
2
Clear
cards,
up
get the armor,
Christology.
get the weapon, get cooking with the hero power.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
There's already 1 bouncer in hand, and there's Christology and Novice Engineer. You're going to draw the bouncer very quickly anyway. But there's the quest.
The quest completion does make that a little bit more a question mark, though, because you'd be smacking into a Divine Shield, which is the nightmare for Uther. It does not give you the lifesteal effect. So it's possible that instead we see like Pyro Spell Equality, like maybe Pyro Coin Equality. Or
A quality pyro spell.
Right, yeah. That's the way to go about it.
Come on, Darren.
Hunter's was literally telling me off for doing this wrong the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Just gotta get the basics right, man.
I know.
Christology gonna do a very nice job. As I mentioned, Christology, unless you have no drops left in your deck, is just always fantastic. 2 mana, draw 2 minions that you can probably get out of your hand or draw more cards with as well.
Yeah. Noble was here clearly unsure as to how to proceed. Leaving it up is a little bit scary because of Sonya in particular, I suppose. Zola has been played already.
I think leaving it up might be fine, because next turn you're probably going to consider Shivala with that Kangor.
He's just playing Shivala. Wow. So leaving it very possibly dying, because this is now indicating Shivala is not his win condition. It's Horseman.
And it can die if Bloodyface so chooses. And with Sonya and deckhands, I don't see why not as far as I'm concerned, Aaron.
Yeah. And I mean, Noblord's biggest hope here is that Bloodyface just does not have any value, which to be honest is not far off the mark. If another board clear comes down, or even just a bit of mitigation clearing off the Sonya, Bloodyface really doesn't have that much to do. He has to get so much pressure because of the timeouts as well.
Yeah, Noblord is treading towards the deeper water now, at least, or at least mentally, I feel. Once Shivala's just gone and you've not bounced it, you've not Zola'd it, you've not done anything with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the heal's nice, but once it's just gone, this dual OTK narrows,
Yes,
right? Like,
very much so.
you then have to alter your game plan because that is just out of the window, and that is it's pretty hard to do. But we see Bloodyface would just vanish, and this Uther means he can kill off the Sonya, which is absolutely vital. As if Noblord could see the hand now for Bloodyface. It's like, yes,
This is
Sonya, get ripped.
Yeah, this is a weird game, man. Like, obviously Noblord's play, to be honest, got punished in this particular... Or I shouldn't say punished because that indicates it's a bad play. It didn't work out in this instance because Sonya plus deckhand was there, which means the deckhand wouldn't have been able to die to be replayed if Shivala hadn't been played. So he's just closed off an avenue to victory there. He still has a very valid one with the Horseman OTK, but maybe they just don't work out for him. They just give him the wrong Horseman.
Yeah, and then vanish for the Glacial Shard there, and the deckhand, of course, not bad. I will say, though, I think good players can be punished. Like, just, you know, you can make a good play, and it could just be the wrong good play when you've got multiple options.
Yeah, I mean,
do you sign up to the there is only ever one play school?
kind of.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
You've changed.
Like I was saying, like, you know, Noblord technically made a misplay earlier on in the series by not delivering lethal, but I think it was still the right play because he wasn't certain.
Okay.
He made with a chance that was most likely to deliver a win for him. It's very cool.
Ooh, well, there's some value town right there.
Yep, that is exactly what they're looking for.
Oh.
Noblord needs to get a move on right now.
Oh, and there's even the another novice engineer for the Valera the Hollow. You know, maybe in a couple of turns. That's even more cycling.
Bloodyface is just not running out of value.
Yeah,
That is no longer the concern.
The pressure's up.
It's just, can Noblord deliver the combo quickly enough?
That's 2 timeouts, so that is a long time if these rolls happen, and that is number 2.
That's not Darian. We're happy with that.
Stupid inside jokes. But timeout, you know, that is many turns, and almost, well, actually probably with the lens, that will lead Noblord to drawing his deck, which means
he will
Baleful
draw his-
Banker will draw
Yes.
the 2-2 if he wants to put one in now. Maybe Baleful Banker now.
Yeah.
Because if he's confident you're going to draw your deck, then it's not a problem waiting.
The problem then becomes, does he accidentally draw it with Prismatic Lens and switch the cost to something that's too expensive?
I don't even think
What
there's
spells
anything
left? There's
that's too
nothing left. There's
expensive.
nothing that
No.
costs more than 4. And it costing 4 is perfectly acceptable because there's always 2 mana left over with the classic combo. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine.
And now the value's there for Bloodyface, but because of the way Noblord is playing, and, you know,
Yeah.
hitting the right Horseman, let's not mess about with that.
Yeah.
Because it's hit 2 out of 2, then it means that Bloodyface not only needs value, but needs aggression. And suddenly, as we mentioned before, Kango's on the board. You kind of have to kill it, because if you don't, there's a problem. Have we seen any Flash of Lights from Noblord?
I think we saw 1 at the start.
Okay. Because that's really good as well. 2 mana, draw a card.
Just keep
You know.
cycling. Yep. I mean, like, to be honest, what it's going to come down to for Noblord here is, can he get the right Horseman? But also more than that, can he maximize his odds of getting the right Horseman? Because he has effectively 4 bounce effects in 2 Brewmasters, Zola, and Baleful Banker. He has the opportunity to copy back a Horseman that he already has so as to play it and give himself a 66% chance of getting the right one instead of a 50% chance later on.
Yeah, which is why, you know, for those of you who don't know, you cannot hero power the same Horseman if there's one already on the board.
Yeah.
You know, you can't create a copy if one's already sat on the board, which is why, you know, plays like you mentioned, and also just leaving a Horseman on the board, even if it's one that's already been bounced, you increase the chances of it being one that's not been bounced.
As it looks like Bloodyface
I think he has to go for it.
is just leaving up the Horseman.
He might even...
Does he have to go for it? I think his best odds here are Noblord just missing the combo. Because he has 2 timeouts still. Bloodyface can build up a board that delivers a 1-turn kill in a few turns' time, right? That's not his concern. It's just whether he can hit the right horseman. That is the correct horseman. Noblord has lethal next turn. Timeout to lock it out. I don't think Bloodyface has anything.
There's
Vanish? Does that...
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
There's
make any
3
difference,
unique
does it?
horsemen in hand. They are played, and then hero power
Nothing.
once. The takes the win, and again, like really brave play from Noblord, I would say, because the second Shivala dies, and you've literally just played Shivala, then it dies, and nothing else. You feel bad, right? Because you can do so much more with that card. But Noblord played it. It did get, punished, we'll say, with the clear, and it didn't matter. Noblord got there with a timeout to spare. Yes, he played 3 separate horsemen. Fair enough, it happens, but that's why the deck's good.
And even with Valera here, Bloodyface can hide
from this,
but he cannot run. As the horsemen hunt him down, delivering the apocalypse, bringing Noblord up 2 games to 1. He only needs a victory now with that Mechathun Warlock. Winning with this Paladin is so huge. 9, something like that. Shivala, Holy Wrath.
Yeah,
just hope you get there.
Well, first off, though, he's going to have to get through with the Rogue out of the Mechathun Warlock. And again, that match, yes, there was a lot of healing involved, but Warlock plays a lot of healing too.
Yeah.
That match went to about, what, turn 11? Turn 12?
Yeah.
And Mechathun wins by then a lot of the time.
It does indeed. Bloodyface can obviously get off to incredibly explosive starts, especially if he is able to stick a board of unbuffed minions and then play the quest into them so that he pushes a lot of damage in 1 turn. In addition to that, I see his main avenue of victory is just hoping Noblord messes up, has a hand that is almost full, 8 or 9 cards, and some minions on the board, and then you can vanish them back to the hand, hope that he overdraws Mechathun or...
any of the combos.
Any of the combos.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
If you overdraw 1, you have to try and beat them up with a 10-10.
Yeah. I think Noblord is exactly the kind of player who will not make that mistake, though. I think he knows these kind of matchups very well indeed. But Bloodyface, I think his main avenue of victory, without getting into the slightly more niche stuff like that, is tempo and just trying to aggro out the game by getting the quest done as quick as possible.
While these players just, go through the card draw, go through the quest procs, go through the value, Mechathun in Mechathun Warlock, do you keep it in your mulligan?
I don't think so, right? You just want all the card draw you can possibly have.
Okay. I've seen it happen a few times.
Really?
And the idea being that, well, if you draw Galvanizer, you can just play
just wanna play
Galvanizer.
it. Yeah,
and then,
yeah, I see the
like
point.
everything else comes together, and also Solarium gets quicker to play on paper because you've already got 1 piece guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's not. I have no real thoughts on it
Yeah.
yet because I've not played enough. But it's just an interesting keep I've seen once or twice.
It would be very interesting. It's somewhat comparable, although a bit worse, I would say, to nowadays to keeping Uther in OTK Paladin, where you have so much draw. You can draw through your whole deck, usually by about turn 10 or 11, that you're very likely to find Uther anyway, so you only keep it in the matchups that you really, really need it as quick as possible.
And we see the high 5 Brewmaster swap. Tag in, tag out, tag in, tag out.
It's like a Friday night down in England. Drink with me, friend. No, you drink with me, friend.
Just can't decide on where to go.
Exactly, yeah.
Corpse Taker is available, but most importantly, these 2 Acolytes can't really live up to their full potential with this board state combined with this hand.
Yeah, he could go for a kind of high roll with drawing and hope to get Defile or even just a Mortal Coil just to damage them a little bit and then attack in. But instead, Noblord here is just kind of accepting their mediocre draw potential.
I hope you like my invention.
Yes, Coil.
Yeah, that's nice.
Don't see why not. Can still follow up with a tap or Novice Engineer. Although on average,
right?
tap's just better because you can tap again next turn and then the turn after.
He is also...
Drink with me, friend.
He is now at 8 cards with 2 cards in play, so he is vulnerable to prep Vanish into exactly overdrawing one of the combo pieces. I wouldn't expect Bloodyface to do that even if he could. Just worth considering, though, that there is the potential for overdrawing of combo pieces, which would pretty much lock Noblord out of the game.
It makes me laugh as well, like Corpse Taker is almost never played in matchups that aren't aggro. It's always a card that's just in the hand all game.
Yeah.
So funny.
Well, that's the benefit of playing the Mechathun Warlock, is you can play cards that are a little bit more expensive because you don't have to play them.
Yeah.
Cataclysm just destroys everything.
Okay, the Hellfire now with the Spellstone in hand, along with that Kobold Librarian, means that, you know, as and when Noblord desires, he can get a pretty hefty Spellstone, which is going to help with some pressure.
Noblord here has entered the situation, though, where he is incredibly vulnerable to that Vanish, as I pointed out. He did not defile his own board here.
Okay, Derek, I'm asking you straight up. Your Bloodyface, do you ever do it and just say, this is the way I might win?
He's drawn the prep, so he can bounce back one of his own minions as well. He can play the Brewmaster, prep Vanish. Well, he's got the quest completion anyway. I honestly don't know. I
Hey,
guess
Bloodyface gone for the quest?
he's more likely to win just through minion pressure, as I said.
Because he could get it done relatively quickly, right? You know, turn
Yeah.
6 quest, having it actually activated as well.
Because he has no idea what his odds are of burning a relevant combo piece. Because he has no idea how many are in hand or how many are in deck.
Because Noblord could have them all and he could have none.
Exactly.
There's no tells, apart from when you see Galvanizer, you know one of them's Mechathune.
I mean, if he knew they were all in the deck and he's like, okay, 50-50 to win, he'd probably just take that.
Right.
Because even if he misses, the game's not over. He still gets the one overdraw anyway. So I guess they're kind of best of both worlds there.
That's true.
And that is pretty fortunate for Noblord with still 3 out of the 5 combo pieces in hand. In deck, sorry.
Right. That's a Spellstone just to put him back up at slightly safer health total. Wax Elemental, not bad at all. But again, so many minions still on the board. Just have to ask the question. If it was me, I would definitely try and cheese a win.
Yeah, because the only way that Vanish gets better than this is if you have a bunch of charge minions in play and you bounce them back to deliver lethal.
Yes. But the problem is, your opponent's on 28, and they have 7 cards left next turn on
They're
the draw.
getting there. They are getting there.
Maximum 7 cards left, because guess what? They're probably going to draw more cards next turn.
Yeah.
And also, Noblord can just defile next turn. If Vanish doesn't come down and just be like, yeah, well, whatever, they're all
Eventually
gone
it just
now.
Stops working. Such a tough position for Bloodyface.
The problem is, if he vanishes now, he does nothing else.
He plays Wax Elemental, I guess, is the best thing, which is fine.
Yeah, I guess it's not bad.
I wonder.
His alternative is just play Novice, start bouncing it, and look for better cards. Because his hand sucks right now. He's just going for it, man.
Everyone, hold on to your seats. Hold your breath.
Nob
Not
knew this
from
would happen.
Noblord. And we just got to see what gets burnt, because this game changes quite dramatically. Place of shot. A laugh and a shake of the head. Rub of the forehead. Wipe that sweat from your brow, Noblord. You are safe for now. But that'll give him a bit of a kick and be like, right, a second Vanish cannot happen this now. I cannot deal with this again because there are barely any cards left.
I think that was like, what, 3 out of 8 odds there to burn a key card that he needs to win the game.
Yeah.
Bloodyface had 2 chances. He had 2 overdraws this game and missed both of them.
Wow. He taps it.
And Noblord
away.
here is still putting himself in a position, which he kind of has to, where Vanish could mess him up again.
Oh my. Vanish? Okay.
This is so close, dude.
And Noblord's still got a few more cards to draw, and
Yes.
there's only the Novice Engineer that draws him anything right now in his hand.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit cloggy.
Half of his deck now is vital to him winning this game.
I'm surprised he's not throwing out those defiles. I really am.
He clearly just thinks he is more likely to lose by giving his opponent time than he is to overdrawing a key combo piece.
I don't know about that, Derek.
I
When
don't
there's-
know. Yeah. That
now
could
it's
just be a
literally
miscalculation.
like 50% of his deck
Yeah.
is a combo piece right now. And Bloodyface cannot do anything about that because he's not got another Vanish yet.
Obviously, no saps anymore in Quest Rogue, not for a long time.
Too soon.
Shuffling more draw into his deck, I suppose that keeps it about the same to find Vanish. Obviously, he can't play multiple Novice Engineers at the same turn and still Vanish. But I think he's realizing more and more that's his win condition.
Galvi, but again,
He can't play it.
it's kind of the thing I mentioned earlier, and I don't know the answer to that question, but if you just had Mechathune in your deck the whole game, these Galvanizers get thrown out whenever you want. wouldn't have burnt as many. I'm not saying Noblord did this or made this choice,
Yeah,
but just this deck isn't going anywhere anytime soon, I feel. So these questions, there's Blood Bloom, but... Vanish off the top.
Would I was going to say, I guess Noblord would rather have this minion be alive than not alive in his Corpse Taker, because he could have ordered that differently where all his minions died. I guess it's more likely he dies to just being killed in one turn, right? So it's probably worth it to have that in play. But now all of a sudden, Bloodyface is getting a pretty sizable board.
And there's still
in play.
cards left.
Yeah.
There's still draw.
It's starting to take over here.
That's oh, he can't
Solarium
even play it. He
cannot be
can't play it.
I hope you like my invention.
There's the
Mechathun.
Mechathun. He clears the board this turn. He can just play Solarium now, right?
Yes.
Oh no, wait, but next turn he still has to play double Galvanizer. So he
Oh, so
wouldn't
he's got
do
one more
next
turn. Yeah. No point taking extra fatigue.
Yeah, you just
And,
hold back.
and this is what I mean, right? Like, this could have already been done if he'd drawn Mechathun earlier. It's crazy.
Bloodyface just hyper drawing through his deck right now, trying to find anything that keeps him in this game. Or just wins him the game right now, not even keep him in it. He has to win, like, right now. Overdraw is no longer a consideration.
He has to set up, right?
He has to set up lethal this turn.
So does he just splurge it all onto the board?
You have to, right?
Because, yeah, I don't know what else you do,
Even though
to
your
be
opponent
honest.
has every card, so you can't play around anything.
Yeah. You have one turn to make it good, and all I see is drop those cards. That's 16 plus 4 from the deckhand, 5 from the dagger, plus a draw. So Noblord. Ziliax is going to be MVP here. Ziliax into Defile, right?
Ziliax. And then
Thanos.
Thalnos Defile. That looks like it clears the board to me.
Can't play it now, though. Oh, sorry, the reduction.
Just the
yeah.
reduction.
Oh.
It's the perfect mana reduction.
Noblord knew all along!
He clears the board.
Gains more health now because of the fall from the...
Oh, okay.
He's just doing it this way instead.
Different line.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I always forget about Magnetize.
It makes basically no difference. He pretty much cannot die on
His
this
last
turn.
card is Cheaty Ankle Biter, which is really funny because the Corpse Taker gets lifesteal still, even though it's not taunted.
Oh, no, wait. How much damage
20,
did he take?
right?
20 damage.
So he needed that heal to win.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that was the way to go for it. I feel like maybe our line was more likely to keep him
Guess
alive.
what? Don't hit me at all.
Whatever. Whatever.
That is a spicy meatball. Noblord leans back. I think he knows. I think we know. But we're about to find out as Mechathun is going to...
Oh, no, he gets the lifesteal. He gets the lifesteal.
Oh, the lifesteal
Keeps
saved
alive.
him!
It would have been a draw otherwise.
Oh, the cheaty Ankle Biter being the last card in the deck.
Won him this
Saved
game.
Noblord. Bloodyface is walking away, but most importantly,
God.
congratulations to Noblord. What a game. We didn't know how to cast half of these games that happened in this series, Derek, but it was